Oh, no, we're starting right now.
Oh, we're starting now. All right, I'm ready.
Yeah, we are now. Hey, welcome everybody to Picklebilly Presents, and Christine Barksdale has generously agreed to meet with us. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So this is your day off. What did you play pickleball today?
It's not exactly my day off. I work
Oh.
full time, 5 days a week. I just happen to be at my niece's house. So I'm helping her a little bit. She's got a 9-month-old, so I'm helping her a little bit today, and I'm working a little bit today, and just making a day of it.
Oh, how nice. So okay, so your job description, can you tell us what are you doing currently?
Sure.
Yeah.
I work for Head, and I do pickleball promotions. I'm the National Pickleball Promotions Manager. So my job is to grow, demand for head pin pickleball products. So
Yeah.
and that's my title. That's what I
Yeah.
do. So, my day to day looks a little bit like, I help with product development. I help sponsor players. I look for new sponsor ideas. What are we doing? How do we get the head name out there and get a head paddle in people's hands so they can try them and find
Yeah.
out if they would like to use one of our paddles?
Yeah. And so what is the evolution of Head? What is the background of the company?
The company started, I'm not exactly sure when, but their first products were actually skis. So Head is
Okay, I'm thinking
known.
about it. When I learned how to ski, I'm remembering it did say Head on the skis. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were a ski company
Yeah.
originally. Then they got in, to the racket sports. So now we're a big tennis big tennis company as well. We also have a little less known. We also have a scuba company. So scuba diving, and then we have some racquetball. We're big in the racquetball world, and then pickleball. About 4 years ago, our business manager for racquetball just said, you know what? I think we need to get into pickleball. It looks like just an outstanding sport. And he dug in and got involved, and they started making pickleball products.
Yeah. Yeah, because if I think about it, the tournaments that I've gone to initially, I didn't
You're
see
getting a
Head so
little,
much.
you're getting a little
Oh,
feedback there when you
okay.
talk. Little feedback.
Okay. I wonder what is doing that. How about now?
Now you're good.
Now I'm good. Maybe
Now
I
you're
stay away
good.
from this microphone, but I'm starting to see Head more. I'm starting to see the presence. I'm seeing it at tournaments. I'm seeing the paddles. I'm seeing sponsored pros. So
That's That's
yeah,
good. That's a good sign that I am out, hopefully effectively doing my job.
yeah. Now,
But
how long have you been playing pickleball?
I've been playing pickleball since 2010, when my dad introduced me to the sport, and he came to me and said, I've got this game I want you to try." Sure, Dad. That's pretty much how that conversation went. Sure,
Yeah,
Dad.
yeah.
Uh-huh. But I went out, and he lives down at the Voyager RV Resort in Tucson, Arizona, and I
Yeah.
visited him a couple times a year before I lived in Arizona, and he got me out on the court. And next thing I knew, I was playing pickleball. So I went back home to Vancouver, Washington, and sought out where places to play. Where do I go play? So I looked on the USA Pickleball website, found places to play, and found an elementary school, and started playing with none other than Enrique Ruiz. Was
Oh,
one of my first partners and people that I got to know in pickleball.
okay, but you had a huge tennis background.
I grew up playing tennis. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you
Hmm.
already had those skills and
I had some of those skills. I had spent a lot of hours on the tennis court. When I first started playing pickleball, like, how did you get so good so fast? I'm like, well, hundreds and thousands of hours of drilling tennis as a child.
yeah,
I would go to
yeah.
the courts, and we would go out and drill every day, 5, 6 hours a day, every day. So yeah, lots of hours and time dedicated on a tennis court to build up those hand-eye, racquetball coordination.
Okay, and so right now, would you say you play a lot more pickleball than you do tennis?
I do. I haven't played tennis since I started playing pickleball.
Okay, so I don't want to be, I don't want to be dissing the tennis world or anything, but in your opinion, what is it about pickleball that has attracted you so much? What is it about pickleball that you're willing to leave that sport of tennis and then focus full time? I know it's partly your job, but I know it's your heart as well. And so what is it?
Well, there was something, well, for me, having grown up playing tennis, I've been playing it since I was like, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, right? So 45, a bunch of years of playing tennis, I was ready for just something a little different. Pickleball allowed me to utilize my skill set, in tennis, all those skills that I spent building up. And then it also introduced me to a whole new group of people and just a difference, because it was similar yet different. There were still things to learn, right? You still had to master and grow. Whereas when you've been playing tennis for 40 some years, you're like, okay, I'm ready for a new challenge. So for me, that was the big change, and then of course I made some amazing, fantastic friends through pickleball. I have some great friends that play tennis and still play tennis as well.
Yeah.
But working full time, I couldn't do both. It was difficult to try and do both. And next thing I knew, I was just playing pickleball full time. And, I had an amazing set of friends through pickleball as well.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So I was in a band with a guy who was an avid tennis player, and he knew I was playing pickleball, and I would go, come on, John, let's go out and, we'll play some pickleball. And he just would have nothing to do with it. And I don't know, there was like a certain, like snobbiness about it. And I thought, maybe, is that just him? Or is there a little bit of that in the tennis world?
I don't know. I mean, I know sometimes there is a little bit of it because, they spend a lot of time building up and developing those skill sets, whereas pickleball, you can come out and be and have fun and have great rallies and all of these things without having to spend tons of hours and time, out building, the skill set. Now, there are varying levels, right? I can, and that's how you get better and better and better. But it definitely is easier to go out, have a pickleball rally than it is a tennis rally, right?
Yeah.
So
it's accessible. Pickleball is accessible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think there are definitely some people in the world that don't, they want to keep playing tennis. That's okay. There's plenty of people coming into pickleball.
That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would think that with a tennis background, that you might prefer singles. I read another interview that you did, and you said you love playing both, and it looks like you were extremely successful in winning singles championships along with doubles. But did I read correctly that you prefer playing doubles over singles?
I do. Yeah. I enjoy singles. I love the workout you get from it. But I like having a partner on the court. I just like the camaraderie of that. I like a partner. I like to have two people pick each other up. I like to set my partner up. I like to figure out ways to make them look good. And I think that's fun.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing with doubles, though, is that you are in tandem. And so you make or break it together. Everything affects each other.
Everything is together, right? And you're absolutely right. You can win together and you lose together. Despite I want to blame myself. I'm sure I lost it. But, you do win and lose together.
Yeah. So, because I met you in Michigan, and there was this beautiful woman, just totally, you and Jim Hackenberg were just doing amazing. But I was wondering, so you came to the tournament, you knew you were going to play with him. I know you've played together socially a bit, but never really in a tournament. So how do you go from, 0 to 50 miles an hour? How do you start with that initial, right, your partnership, and then get it worked out? Do you guys have a discussion like, okay, you're going to take the forehands, we're going to stack, we're going to, or what do you work it out? You're at the pro level. So how does that conversation go?
I always have I have lots of new partners. I just recently partnered for the first time with Scott Crandall, or I've partnered
Yeah.
once with, all kinds of people. I end up with lots of one-time or new partners. I love to have conversations with them before we start to play, before we go on the court. I like to get a practice match in. Who's taking certain balls? Who's doing certain things? And, just kind of have a general guideline. Doesn't mean it's always going to work out that way or always going to go, but I do like to have a conversation with my partner about, maybe general rule of thumb on certain things. Who's taking the middle? Are we stacking? What are we doing? I love partners though that can we just switch and fly as we need to, depending on our opponents, how we're playing that day. Always a conversation though with a new partner. Yeah. I think it's important. What's the rule of thumbs? Make everybody happy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then probably when you're happy, then you're going to play your best because you're comfortable and okay. Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to ask you also, I feel like it's important to have like a pre-game routine, like a certain way that you warm up. Not just like you dink across, but like you go through these like 8 things. Am I just weird, or do you do that?
Well, Jan, you might just be weird, but not about that.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
not in that instance. You're safe.
Yeah.
No, I think there's a routine. I've watched. I definitely have a routine about how I like things done and the way I like things done. And
okay, tell me, give us some specifics.
I like a nice slow warm up. So I like very nice, slow, soft dinks to start with, and then I like to maybe get progressively more difficult, harder. I like to then move back, hit my third ball drops, come in, hit some 3/4, hit some overheads, and then do the reverse for my partner, right? They do kind of the same thing, whatever they want, and then roll into some serves. I have a very kind of specific pattern I like, but the most important thing for me is that I like to start very slow. I like the ball to be slow. I like to just gradually warm up and then build up to more and more heat as, I build up through each type of shot.
Yeah. Yeah. And then why is that important to do it that way? Why do you think that's
for me, it helps me settle in and helps me get into just a little bit of a routine. Let me get this shot down just the way I like it. Okay, now we can start building upon that. So I see it as like layers, here's my foundation, and then I'm going to build on that as I warm up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And as my body gets warmer, right? I get looser, I get warmer. So I'm more than inclined and ready to, okay, let's start, batting the ball back and forth fast, or let me hit my overheads or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Like for me, I think it helps me. Like I'm definitely not a pro player, but the idea of feeling comfortable on the court. So I cannot just, I need to play a little bit with my partner beforehand. I need to talk with them beforehand. And I would feel better having like a really defined, specific warm up. Like we're going to do the gentle dinks, that sounds really good to me. And then you're going to go back, you're going to do 15 drop shots. You're going to do 15 drives. You're going to come mid court. And then we're going to do, overhead putaways and do 10 of those. And then, I don't know. I don't know. It just makes me feel like I'm, secure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to work on that. I'm going to
have a plan. I think have a plan. If it makes you feel better, have a plan.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So tell us like give us your last week, because it seems like you're always traveling. And how does that work for you? Tell us like, okay, give us a typical week or a past week.
It depends. There's a couple of different types of weeks. There's a week on the road, right? And so if I'm on the road, I'm in a tournament, it may entail, me packing up, shipping everything I need to the event, whether that's product or booths or, the tent space, the table covers, the paddle stands, the demo paddles. That's prepping all of that, making sure that's all ready to go. And then that's getting there and working every day from 7, 8 a.m. to 7, 8 p.m. every day during the event. They're long days, but they're fun. I get to meet people like you. I met you at an event, right, Jen?
Yeah.
So I get to meet a lot of new people that way.
Yeah.
and work with a lot of new people. So that's one of the typical weeks for me. Get home, and each day, you check email. I check my email. I try to check it every day, try to respond to things that are important. And then, another typical week might be I'm doing some product development. I'm talking to tournament directors. I'm talking to sponsored players and, figuring out how we're going to get the Head brand in front of more people. What kind of marketing strategies do I have that week? And then, maybe I'm testing product. Maybe we're developing a new paddle or a new bag or things like that. That's another part of my week.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of products,
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Steve Taylor. He has Digital Spatula. He does all the the commercial and the broadcasting for the APP.
Yeah.
Just a brilliant, brilliant guy with filmography. But I told him I was going to be interviewing you, and he goes, "Oh yeah, tell Christine I said hi." And he said, "I love their shoes." He goes, "I wear them all the time." So that's really interesting because I know people go through shoes, and we want shoes that are comfortable, that that support that are court shoes that can support the jarring movements. So I really loved hearing that. So I don't know if you could show us or not, but you could tell us about it.
I could. I
Yeah.
did. I have a pair. I have shoes here,
Yeah.
but I didn't run and grab a pair to show. But I do
Yeah.
have. I think our court shoes are amazing. We do a good job of designing the shoe for
Yeah.
lateral support, good traction on the court, and good durability.
Yeah.
Many of our styles of shoes come with a 6-month sole warranty. So if you wear a hole in the sole, you call an amazing customer service team, and they will work with you to get a replacement pair out to you.
Yeah. Awesome.
It's always important to keep your receipts, but yeah, I think our footwear, I think they're just well designed. We've got some fun new colors coming out in 2022, right? Next year,
Awesome.
we've got fun new colors coming out.
Yeah.
And then the most notable thing, and I tell this story a lot, people probably heard it, I've put a lot of shoes on a lot of people's feet, and we do have 3 different styles that fit 3 different types of feet. We've got a narrow shoe that works great for more narrow feet. We've got a what I call I don't know if you've ever watched the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, but it's this pair of pants that fit everybody. I feel like these shoes fit everybody, because I've had people come in and I'm thinking, there's no way this shoe's going on their foot. Sure enough, they'll pull it on, put on tight. Yeah, this fits great. Amazing to me.
Yeah.
But they do. It runs a little bit. So we have a Sprint. We have the Revolt Pro that runs a little bit wider, and then we make a shoe specifically for pickleball versus just it's a court shoe still, but it's specifically for pickleball. It's a little wider, a little softer, and I kind of call it our shoe because we have a lot of people that walk in that wear running shoes to play pickleball in. I like to see them get into court shoes because of the lateral movement, the stability, and the durability. This shoe is kind of a nice transition shoe for people. Instead of going to a stiffer shoe, this is a little kind of a mid-range shoe. Okay.
And then, all right, this may be a stupid question, but I'll ask
There's
it
no
anyway.
such thing.
So if I want to try these shoes, do I order them online? Can I get them at a sporting goods store? Where do I find them at?
It's going to depend. You can go online to head.com and you can find places that carry our footwear.
Yeah.
You can also order online. If you're going to order online right now, I recommend you order a half size up.
Okay.
So if you normally wear like an 8, I would send you to an 8.5. Typically, we run about a half size small. But yeah, you can order online at many of our online retailers. There's a variety of them out there. You can Google Head shoes and you'll find a variety of retailers, but you can also get them at some of your local retailers. Just depends on if the local retailer carries footwear or not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to be checking into that. Okay, I also, changing the subject here. I know that you were instrumental in putting on the national championships, and I think that there's so much that goes into that, so much. What are you most proud of in your tenure doing that, what do you think, went really well, that you were very pleased with what you did and what you brought to that event?
It's a good question. When I first started there, they were running the nationals when I first started working for the USA Pickleball Association back then, the USAPA.
Mhm.
They were running the nationals at Casa Grande. And during that time, we were outgrowing their facility, but their volunteers were also exhausted. Their volunteer base was amazing. They did an outstanding job, and I couldn't have thanked them more and enough.
Hmm.
But the sport was growing and getting more demanding. So one of the things that we ended up doing, as everybody knows now, is we negotiated a contract with the Indian Wells Tennis Garden, which is where the USA Pickleball Nationals are now held. That was a big change. It was a big deal moving into California, figuring out the volunteer structure. So I was pretty excited about that. Just getting that venue.
Where was the other venue at? What state was it
Palm,
in?
Palm Creek. The other venue was in Arizona. It was in Casa Grande, Arizona at Palm Creek. Yeah, so about 45 minutes south of Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
Because that's typically where Nationals has been held since day one. It was out at, not there, it's been in Arizona. I believe the first one was out at Sun City Festival outside of Surprise, Arizona. And then we moved it to Palm Creek in Casa Grande, Arizona. And then its current venue, Indian Wells Tennis Garden.
So can you tell us, when Indian Wells was preparing, what do they do to prepare their courts for the Nationals?
They resurface all of their courts every year for the tennis tournament that they host.
Yeah.
And so what they did was they decided they would just add one more resurfacing, and they surface them to pickleball courts. They bring in all of the very sturdy, heavy duty nets, for the courts. And it's a lot of work, but they do all that in-house. Their team of maintenance and grounds guys or facility workers go through a lot of trouble to prepare that venue for a pickleball tournament.
Yeah. Are you going?
I am going this year. I'll be there.
Yay. Yeah, me too. I'm so looking forward to it. Okay. Well, any final thoughts you'd like to share with our viewers?
I think that's all. I really appreciate your time. I hope that our viewers are making use of picklebilly.com and your hosted housing and your shared housing. I think that's a great tool that I hope people are making use of and hearing about, that they're spreading the word that, with so many tournament players and so many people traveling around the country, I think there's really nothing better than picklebilly.com to make people's lives easier.
I tell you, there are a lot of people who are really enjoying it. They're making some great connections, and a lot of the top pros have actually been using Picklebilly, and we're helping them to get housing. So that's, an extra bonus. But also people running tournaments. Tournaments are becoming way more competitive. When you go on pickleballtournaments.com or anywhere else that does that, every weekend there are different places where people can go, play pickleball.
Yes.
So I feel like, I've been working with some different tournament directors. It's like, look, if you can offer hosted housing, it just is like one more reason that people, might come to your tournaments. So I'd like tournament directors to, work with me to set up a big database for hosted housing, so we just have it across the country. So that's what I'm working for. And I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great resource that people need to be aware of.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, have a great day. And thank you again. It was really good to chat with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.